Hi, everyone. Welcome to Math 1030. I might have mentioned this at the beginning of class, but Math 1030 fulfills your quantitative literacy requirement, which is like your general ed math requirement. And this class is specifically designed for people who will not be taking any further math classes. So if you think that you should be taking a math class after this one, you're probably enrolled in the wrong class. And I would recommend going and talking to your academic counselor to make sure that you get placed into the correct class. So before we jump into the syllabus and important information from there, I would like to share my personal goals for you guys in this class. So, especially because this is your last math class, I really want your experience with math in this class to be as easy and as enjoyable as possible. So, if there's anything I can do to help make your experience better, please feel free to share that with me. I would also really like, through the process of this class, that you guys make meaningful friendships and also build a better relationship with yourself. Some of you may not have had positive experiences with math in the past, and I hope that this class will be an experience that will help um, shift your perspective of what math can be like, but also that it will help shift your perspective of your capabilities with math. And then also, I would really like to help you guys meet whatever your math goals are. So I'm assuming all of you guys would like to pass. But if your goal is to get an A in a math class for the first time, or maybe you usually get A's and you want to stretch yourself a little bit and learn to see math in a more artistic light, whatever your math goal is, I would really like to help support you in that. So those are my goals for the course. And the things that you'll need to buy for this course are the in-class assignment packet. So you can either print these out. There's a Canvas assignment that has the PDFs of them. Or you can also buy them pre-printed from the bookstore. So you need to have that by next class because that packet includes all of the assignments that we'll be completing in class. Um, Also, you are welcome to use a tablet if you would like to. But if you choose that option and you don't print out the packet, you need to make sure that you bring your tablet fully charged and ready to use during every class period. So make sure you get that packet. Again, that's available in the bookstore, or you can also download the PDFs and print those out through the Canvas assignment that's due tonight. You'll also need a scientific calculator, and it does need to be a handheld physical calculator. Um, Technically, you can use your phone calculator on your assignments. However, that's kind of shooting yourself in the foot, especially on some of the harder units where the calculations can be a little bit more complex, because you won't be able to use a phone in the testing center when you take your tests. And so I would recommend not using your phone calculator ever, and just always bring a scientific calculator to class so that you can practice using the calculator and make sure you understand how to use it when you go to take your test in the testing center. So the type of calculator that I recommend is a scientific calculator like this one. You need to make sure your calculator has an exponent button like this one. Sometimes the button looks different, so if you're not sure if your calculator will work or not, feel free to ask me. But you can buy these for like 12 bucks at Walmart or Amazon or wherever you want to buy them. You're also welcome to use a graphing calculator. It won't really give you any more of an advantage than a scientific calculator, and they're quite a bit more expensive. But if you already have a graphing calculator and you want to use that, you're absolutely welcome to do that. And then you'll also need some 3x5 note cards because you are allowed to use note cards for the test. And we have a total of 6 tests. So you'll only need 6 3x5 note cards. And if you don't want to spend money on them, you can just cut out a piece of paper so that it's 3 inches by 5 inches, and that's fine. But I would recommend that you get those as soon as possible so that you can start making notes on your note cards to include the stuff that you would like to take with you when you go to take the test. So those are the things you need to buy. We do have a textbook, and if you would like to buy a paper copy of the textbook, I think it's like $20 on Amazon or something, and the link is in the syllabus. However, you don't need the textbook. It's kind of an optional textbook, and I will provide the online copy for free. So unless you want a paper copy of it, you don't need to buy it. So these are the only three things that you need to buy for this course. Okay, so now that we've talked about what you need to buy for this course, I want to share with you what this class structure will look like so that you know what to expect when you come to class on Wednesday. So our class is what's called a flipped classroom. So if you've never done a flipped classroom before, basically what that means is all of my lectures will be recorded on video and you will watch them for your homework. And then you'll come to class and you'll work on the assignments and projects in class. And in my class, we do them in groups. So basically, you'll watch the videos at home to understand what the concepts are, to receive my lecture. You're welcome to slow them down or speed them up, depending on whether things are making sense to you or not. Um, and the benefit of this is that you can go back and rewatch the videos as many times as you need to make sure that you really understand the concepts. Then when you come to class, at the beginning of class, I'll give a short introduction to the assignments we're working on that day, and I'll also take roll. And then you guys will work on the assignments in groups for about 30 minutes. So you'll have the in-class assignments, which are in the packet that you'll be buying or printing. And then you'll also have some projects that I will provide for you. So you'll work in your groups for about 30 minutes. And then at the end of class, I'll open it up for any questions that you had that would benefit the entire class. So during the group work time, I'll be wandering around the classroom and helping you guys answering questions one-on-one and with your groups. But if you feel like there's any questions that would benefit the entire group, those questions will be answered at the end of class. And I'll also provide a couple of extra examples of whatever topic we're learning that day. And then at the very end of class, we'll wrap up our groups so that you know what you need to work on before next class and which videos you need to watch and things like that. And that's what class time will look like. So if you use your class time wisely, you should be able to finish all of your homework and all of the projects within the class period. And some of you, if you work really quickly, may also have time to work on the quizzes. So the basic rhythm of how our assignments work, this is from Unit 2 in February, because in Unit 1 we have a lot of like beginning of the semester stuff. So I wanted to show you guys a typical week. So at the beginning of Unit 2 on Sunday, you'll have an assignment in Canvas where you'll watch the videos for the topic that you'll learn on Monday. So in the finance unit, the first lesson is about percents. So you'll watch the videos, and that needs to be completed before you come to class on Monday. Then on Monday, you'll work on the in-class assignment that has to do with percents. And you also happen to have a project. So you don't have a project every day. We usually have about 4 projects per unit. But on that particular day, you do have a project. So in your group work time, you guys will be working on the in-class assignment and on the project. And then after you finish those, then you can take the quiz that corresponds to the in-class assignment. So these quizzes can be taken twice. So if you miss something the first time around, you can retake the quiz one time. And basically, the idea of the quizzes is to give you a chance to see if you can do the work on your own. Because in the in-class assignments, you guys will be working in groups and discussing the problems and helping each other figure it out. And the quiz is an opportunity to make sure that you know how to do it by yourself. So every class period, you'll watch the videos the day before, and then you'll complete the in-class assignment with your group, and then do the quiz on your own. And if your group finishes the in-class assignment quickly, you are welcome to use class time to complete the quizzes. But the main goal during class time is to complete the in-class assignments and the projects. So that's the basic rhythm of how the assignments work. And this is the weighting of the assignments. So the majority of your grade comes from the unit tests and the final exam. So 70% of your grade comes from tests, and then the other 30% comes from the assignments I just talked about. So when you watch a video, there's a quiz that you'll submit that verifies that you watch the video. It doesn't test you on the stuff in the video. It literally just says like, on my honor, I watched the video. And so each one of those assignments is worth 1 point each. Then you have the in-class assignments and the projects, which are each worth 10 points. And the quizzes are worth 5 points each. So the quizzes aren't anything to stress about. The in-class assignments and projects are worth much more of your grade. And on those ones, you basically get full points for participation and completion. So this 30% of your final grade should be relatively easy to get 100% on all of the topics. Sometimes you might miss a point or here, a point or two here or there on the quizzes, but for the most part, it should be pretty easy to get full points on the 30% section of your grade. So the 70% is your unit tests and your exams. So the goal of these in-class assignments and projects is to really utilize them as learning opportunities because you want to make sure that you deeply understand the concepts. So when the tests come around, the tests feel easy and simple for you. So on these in-class assignments and projects, like I said, you basically get full points for participation. But make sure that you're not just, copying down answers from your group members or just doing it to get the assignment done. Because the main goal of those assignments and projects is to help you understand the concepts that will show up on the test. So in our class, we have 5 units and they're scheduled like this. So each unit is about 3 weeks long, with the exception of the finance unit, just because we only have 14 weeks in the semester. So one of the units had to be a little bit shorter, and the finance unit has the least amount of topics. So each unit is about 3 weeks long, and all of the assignments from the unit can be turned in up until the day of the unit test. So the assignment due dates that you see in Canvas are suggestions of the pace I would recommend. But as long as you finish all of the unit work by the beginning of the next unit, which is when the unit test will open for the previous unit, then you'll still get full points for it. So if you're absent one day and you need to turn it in late, that's totally fine. You'll still get full points. But this is the overall schedule. And the topics for our unit are all unique. So graph theory is the first unit that we're going to be working on. And I'm really excited about this one because this is actually what I did my master's thesis on. So I'm excited to share a little bit with you guys about that one. And this unit is also one that really lends itself well to pattern finding and experiencing math as an art. So not all of the units will be super artsy, like we read about in the article. Like, for example, finance is very formula based. Voting theory is a little bit artsy, but also kind of procedural. And then we also have probability and statistics. So one of the things that's really nice about the way that this course is set up is because all of the 5 units are separate and distinct, if you struggle with one, that doesn't mean that you're going to struggle with the entire course. So maybe graph theory is maybe a little bit of a challenge for you because you haven't ever done math in an artistic way before. But if you struggle with graph theory, you might totally rock it in finance. Or like if finance is kind of hard, you might do really well in voting theory because all of the topics are separate and distinct. So that's kind of our course calendar. This black box right here is spring break, and this black box here is finals week. So if you want to take note of when the tests are, these are the test due dates, but the tests will be open this entire week. So our first test will be the week of January 29th to February 2nd, and it will be due on February 2nd. So that's kind of an overview of our calendar for the semester. And now I want to get into some of the course policies. So the most important course policy I have is that attendance is required. So every day of class, you have the opportunity to earn 5 attendance points, and that makes a total of 200 attendance points over the entire semester. And because it's so important that you show up to class and participate with your group and discuss the assignments with them, I've decided to incentivize attendance pretty heavily. So if you have 175 attendance points or more, remember there's 200 attendance points possible, then at the end of the semester, your final exam will be optional, which means that if you decide to take the final, it will replace your lowest test score from the previous units. However, if you have less than 175 attendance points, then the final exam will be required and it will not replace your lowest test score. So it's really important that you come to class. And I will be recording attendance every day so that you know exactly where you stand and how many attendance points you're gaining each day of class. So you have the opportunity to earn 5 attendance points. And these are the things that may affect your attendance points. So if you have an official excused absence, you will not lose any points. So examples of official excused absences might be things like if you have a school-sponsored field trip, maybe for one of your other classes, or if you're in choir or band, or if you're on a sports team, and you are absent from class, and I get an official letter from your teacher or your coach or your band instructor, whoever it is, if I get an official letter that excuses you from the absence, then you'll still get all 5 points for your attendance. This also counts if you're sick enough to have a doctor's note. So if you get sick and you're sick for multiple days and you send me an official doctor's note, then you will not lose any of your attendance points. The next option is to have an instructor excuse me, an instructor excused absence. So this might be things like if you're going to a family wedding. You're not going to get an official school excused absence for going to a wedding, but also I totally get it, and I think you should go to the wedding to help celebrate whoever you know that is getting married. Or if you're sick, but you didn't end up going to the doctor, you're just at home and you don't feel well. Those would be examples of instructor excused absences. So that's kind of up to my discretion. And ideally, it would be best if instead of having an instructor excused absence, you attend class virtually via Zoom. So next class, we'll be putting together our groups, and I would recommend that you exchange contact information with your group members so that if you're sick, but you're still feeling okay enough to attend class on Zoom, then you can Zoom in with your group mates and still get most of your attendance points. So if you email me and you say, hey, Miss Willis, I'm feeling really sick, um, can I get an instructor excused absence? I'm going to first ask you if you'd be willing to attend class virtually on Zoom, because then you're not going to miss any of the work that your group is working on. But if you're like so sick that you just need to sleep, of course, I'll give you an excused absence. So ideally, I attend class virtually via Zoom. But if there's a circumstance that makes it so that you just can't attend class virtually, then you can ask me for an instructor excused absence. And in both cases, you'll only lose one of your 5 attendance points for both of those. Then the other things that you may lose points for is if you arrive late to class or leave class early. And the number of points that you'll lose for those depends on how much class you miss. So if you're only like 5 or 10 minutes late to class, you're probably only going to miss 1, maybe 2 points. But if you show up to class and there's only 20 minutes left, then you're going to lose a significant or significantly more points from that. And then if you have an unexcused absence, then you will lose all 5 points of attendance. I also forgot to mention on the officially excused absences, I know those of you that are in the aviation program sometimes have to fly during class time, and that does count as an official excused absence if you email me some type of documentation that shows me that you are flying during class. So that would also count as an official excused absence. So that's the attendance policy. And remember, the attendance doesn't go directly on your grade, but it will impact your grade quite significantly in the optional final exam. So the attendance points don't actually count as any points towards your grade, but if you get an optional final, then that can boost your grade quite significantly. So I'd highly recommend that you arrange your life however you need to make it so that you can attend class most of the time. And just as a reminder, there are 200 attendance points available, and you need to have 175, which means that you can miss about 5 attendance points per unit. So that means that you can have one unexcused absence per unit, or you can divvy up the points among a couple class periods if you attend class on Zoom or have an instructor excused absence or things like that. So any questions about the attendance policy? Okay, and then the last two policies I want to mention from the syllabus are the late policy. So I think I mentioned this earlier, but we'll go ahead and say it again. All of your assignments from the unit can be submitted up until the day that the unit test opens. So our first unit is 3 weeks long, and you can submit assignments at any point during those 3 weeks. I would recommend staying on pace with the due dates, but they're not super strict. You can turn them in at any point during the unit, but once the unit test opens, then you cannot submit any assignments from that unit after that point. So that's the late policy. The absence policy is if you are not in class when your group completes the assignment or the project, and you're not attending via Zoom or virtually or however that works, then it's your responsibility to complete that assignment on your own. So this is another reason why it's really important to make sure that you attend class as often as possible, because the point of group work is to help you guys learn from each other and be able to discuss the assignments and talk about whatever your questions are, ask me questions. And if you're not there for that, then it's your responsibility to complete the assignment on your own. So those are all of the policies. I would like you guys to read through the syllabus before next class, but these are all of the most important highlights of the syllabus. And if you have any questions, let me know. So before next class, the most important thing is to print and purchase the in-class assignment packet. So again, you can either print that from the PDFs that are in Canvas, or you can purchase it from the bookstore. But you have to make sure you have that by next class because you have an in-class assignment that we will be working on next. So get that printed or get that purchased. Read through the syllabus. And then in Canvas, there's also an assignment called a Mathematician's Lament. And in that assignment, I just want you to write a quick paragraph or two about your impressions from the article that we read in class today. And that assignment will count as your attendance for today. So I didn't take roll today, but if you submit that assignment in Canvas, that will count as your attendance. And then before next class, watch the graph theory vocabulary videos in Canvas because that's our first assignment that we'll be working on next class. And if you would like to, you can start working on that in-class assignment in your packet. And that's just because next class we're going to be spending a lot of time getting our groups put together, showing you guys how the projects work. So it'll kind of be a little bit more administrative than normal next class. So if you get a head start on that assignment, that will help you and your group not fall behind if we run a little bit short on time next class. So these are the 5 things you need to do before next class. Do you guys have any questions?